Welcome to Diverse Orange, our conversations about diversity here in Central Florida. My guest today is my colleague, Thali Sugisawa. Hello, Thali.
Hello, friends.
Well, Thali, you have made a mark here in Central Florida. How long have you been here in Central Florida?
It's been about 8 years.
Well, you've made an impression here in 8 years. But let's get to know a little bit about your background. You were born and raised in Brazil, correct?
That's correct. I was born and raised in Brazil, Japanese father, Brazilian mother.
And how was that growing up in Brazil?
It was good and it was hard. I think growing up biracial really defined where my life went, and all my dreams. Really, being biracial defined everything in my life, and yeah. So I guess it was good, but it was also hard.
Were you in a mostly Japanese community or a mostly Brazilian community?
I would say both. We're definitely closer to my dad's family, and we would attend the Japanese club. But in my school, for example, I was the only, or maybe there's another Asian girl. So, yeah, I was very inserted in both worlds, both cultures.
And were your fellow students curious and interested and supportive of your Asian heritage?
No, not at all. They were all very bullish. Um, and when you're different, when you stand out for being different, and back in the 80s and the 90s, there was no such thing as anti-bullying things. So it was just normal to get picked on, and it was hard. But you know, um, I think in my family, the way of dealing with that was like, these are things that happen, and you just brush it off. So I kept brushing it off, but it definitely leaves a mark because you try. I think my journey has been trying to really fit in someone's box, either my family box. I could never fit because I was not pure Japanese, and then I could never fit my friend's box because I was not Brazilian enough. So I think my journey has been just finding my own box.
Well, you're making a beautiful box, I'm sure. And so I know that a trip to Disney put this dream of living in Central Florida in you, and you've arrived here 8 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Have you felt like you were embraced?
Oh, 100% or 200%. Yes, I had this dream of moving here, and that dream started when I was about 9 years old, when I came to Disney for the first time and I saw people speaking different languages and looking so different, and kind of no one cared. Everyone was just there in that same place, living their best lives. So a 9 year old me was like, I'm gonna move here one day because then I can just be me. So it took me a long time, but I finally made it 8 years ago. And like I said, everything in my life really revolved around this being biracial, and wanting to just have my own box, not being at a place that I had to be in this box or this other box, because I was never going to fulfill their expectations anyways. So moving here was a huge dream. And then again, everything in my life was kind of direction to fulfilling that dream. So that happened 8 years ago, and I definitely felt very embraced. And I have to say, Terry, that a big part of it is thanks to you. Like, you were one of the first people who embraced me, who gave me a lot of opportunities, not only just to be myself, but you definitely saw something in me, right? You saw something, you're like, I do you want to do this work with me, which is Fusion Fast? And I said yes. And we've been doing this for 6 years now. And it's been definitely an amazing journey. And you play a big part in my life. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So homes sometimes have names, and you are creating your own box. What's the name of your box?
Oh, that's so interesting. Um, Good question. I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I think the name of my box is it's a big box that everyone is in, I guess. It's a box that it's very inclusive. It's a box that it's a constant learning. People were constant learning. I am constantly learning new things. So it might be a box that it's always open to. I don't have a short answer like a name, but I will come up with something. You're good with names. Maybe you can help me with that.
Are there some people that you would be a little distressed if they came into your box?
Oh, yes. I think definitely I have a hard time dealing with people who are non inclusive people, for example. And probably this has to do with my journey. So I would have a hard time with those people. But if there's one thing, one big takeaway that I got from working with you is not being so reactive and giving people who are very different from me, who I don't think maybe have the right morals in place, to still give them a chance and to hear from them and to listen their stories. So I am trying.
Well, it's not easy to do, but
Yeah.
I congratulate you for trying. So, what do you see as your future here in Central Florida?
Uh, Good question. I hope that the city will still be embracing me and welcome me in my new adventures. Um, I'm leaving Fusion Fest after again 6 years, and it was an amazing journey. But I definitely come full circle, and I'm excited to do other things. So I am hoping that my future will still be the city embracing me with whatever um, comes up my way, whatever my next adventure is. I am hoping to still feel embraced by everyone and still feel valued, and that I'm a worthy person of this community.
In these 6 years of dealing with hundreds of different cultures, what's the
Mhm.
most intriguing culture that was new to you that you've encountered?
Um, I'm gonna say, oh my goodness, that's a hard one because there's so many,
I'm
right?
asking you lots of hard questions.
Yes. Um, I would say I have loved getting to know more of the Indonesian culture. I did not know about, their traditional clothing and the dance styles and even the food. I was not familiar with that. So that's one culture that I have been enjoying getting to know a little bit more. And also the cultures inside cultures, right? Like how India has so many different cultures inside that one culture, that one country. So definitely being interesting dealing on the business side also with other cultures and getting everyone on the same page. Listen, that's not easy. That's very challenging, but it's been really interesting to learn how people communicate in their cultures. And some people will be very straightforward, right? Some cultures are very straightforward, and some cultures are more, you need to beat around the bushes a little bit more. You need to have a little bit more diplomacy to talk to them. And some others are, are like halfway, like in between those two things. So yeah, it's been definitely interesting.
And I would say that individuals within all those cultures also can vary. So we can
Ab-
make generalizations about cultures, but each individual is an individual.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, what is your biggest wish for Central Florida as its place in the world?
I definitely want Central Florida to be known as an embracing community. I think it is known as an embracing community, but recently, I think what we've been seeing in what's happening right now with book bannings and some laws that are, completely disregarding an important part of our population, and that is sad. So my hopes for Central Florida is that we can turn this around and we can stay inclusive, that we can stay kind, that we can still take care of each other no matter where you're from, no matter what religion you follow, no matter anything. So that's my hope for Central Florida.
Great. Well, our hope is that we will continue to see a lot of you, Thali Sugisawa, and that and your dreams will come true here. Thank you for being with us today and answering those hard questions thrown at you.
I know. Yes, I enjoyed it.
Great. And thank you all for watching this edition of Diverse Orange.
Thank you. Bye.